Hello and welcome back to Genesis Designs and Modelcraft, and welcome back to Chatterbox. And I'm back on the pre-recorded format because I just want a quick and easy one. It's a bank holiday Monday, the weather's not brilliant, so I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm going to do some modelling today. I am back from my break and I think I am pretty much almost recovered from holiday induced fatigue and jet lag. You always seem to, there's always a payback, isn't there? So I did manage to get some content queued up for you to watch while I was gone. What I've learned from that is that it appears that you guys don't like car models, so maybe I won't make that a focus going forward. And you may or may not be aware that I have actually got the very first real instalment of Even More Modelling for Beginners up the Defiant build, but I wanted to do a very quick chatterbox because there are two that I wanted to mention separately and in chatterbox. The first one is, I mentioned in that first video that I will be using to add rivet detail to the Defiant my riveting tool, little pounce wheel. This is what I use. I've used it for a long time and I really like them, and I mentioned that they're no longer available because they were not, because Radu Brunzan, who used to produce that line of tools, stopped being in business. And Ed Fleming, thank you very much Ed, commented that the RB Productions tools in fact are available via Airscale. So if anyone isn't familiar with Airscale, make yourselves familiar. He is the guy who on I think it's the Large Scale Models Forum, he basically scratch builds large scale aircraft models, mostly covered with metal, with highly polished finishes, but he's an extremely good modeller, but he also produces some really nice accessories for modelers. He's the guy that does the instrument panel decals and the instrument decals, as well as various bits of photo etch. But anyway, long story short, he does now carry, here is my phone with the website, the RB Productions tools range. I use the, go in here, I use the Rivet R Mini. This is the tool I just showed you. And when you buy them, you basically get a little etched fret, and it's quite strong stuff. It's not like model photo etch. To produce the little holder, and you get some different sized wheels. The wheels are the same physical size, but the tooth spacing is different, so you get a different spacing on the rivets. Extra wheels are available, and there's a larger version called the Rivet R. He also carries the scribers. These are really good actually. It's a very good scriber, and various other bits and pieces. Mostly I think they're all designed to fit into one of these style tool holders. They're really good. I can't recommend them enough. I will put a link in the description to the Airscale website for anybody who might be interested in grabbing some. They're not even terribly expensive, so no dramas. Anyway, that's that. The other thing I wanted to look at is this. I'm not a massive fan of 3D decals. I have used them a couple of times. I don't personally think that they're as good as photo etch, but one of the things I'm mucking about with on the side is the FX Lysander. Here it is, it's all taped together. One of the many little test fits just to see how it's going, and as you can see, I have the interior built and it's all been painted in its base colour, and it has been cleared, and that's how it sits. And as often happens with my builds, I've stalled out a tiny bit because of the mental effort it's taking me to figure out what bits I need to paint in different colours, and if that sounds pathetic, then yeah, I agree. Anyway, there it sits. And shortly after I got back from my travels, I went to visit Matt across the road, Matt's Modelling Den, and he's also about to build a Lysander, and he bought this set because he has no such concerns about 3D decals. I apparently can't even get them out of the pack. Oh dear me. So this set's come from Hannants. I was impressed, so I bought it. Long story short, it's come from Hannants and it cost me £22.60. which is a lot for some 3D decals, but there is more to the set than that, which is why I wanted to do this quick review. So you get a little bit of instructions in here, all just folded up like little streamers. Written instructions on roughly how they'd like you to use them, and then pictorial ones showing where the various parts go, although it is relatively obvious. That shows you where they go, and there's a clue to the extra there. And there are 3 separate little packs here with the various little elements of the set. So this one is the instrument panel itself. And as you can see, a rather lovely map complete with a plotting tool thingamy printed onto it. So these do have relief, hence the 3D printed, or the, you know, they're like a funny sort of resin, but they're flexible. They'll peel off this backing sheet like decals do. They're flexible, and then you apply them to the model. Honestly, these look like quite a lot better than the last lot. I've only used Quinta up to now that I used. You can see that the instrument glass, can I get this to reflect? I'm hoping you can see that the instrument glass is gloss already. No extra work required here. They literally do just stick on. And these are, my issues with these in the past, honestly, have been that the printing is kind of fuzzy. They don't have the definition. They're not as crisp as photo etch. But I've got to say, these are better. Definitely. These are quite impressive. So we've got on this little sheet here, there's some trim wheels, there's a compass face. The instrument panel itself and the blind flying panel is separate. That's the big 6 there. That fits where this big number 3 is. Then you've got some side console stuff. We have a very pistol, or a flare pistol. A set of flares which are printed in relief. Probably a throttle quadrant there, and some bits and pieces. And you've got 2 separate sheets, and they're not very big. I'm going to use the tweezers, it'll be quicker. Here, pilot's harness set. They're pre-coloured, and they even sport a sort of a highlighted effect, and they're quite a bit more flexible than photo etch, so it's a little bit easier to get them to conform and look sort of nice-ish. And bear in mind that Sutton harnesses, which these are very, very thick webbing material, so they're not the most flexible. They don't really drape around all that much. And then you've got an observer's waist belt as well. So that's the sort of 3D printed decal side of the set. And I will apologise for my fingernails being a bit scummy. I've been out in the garage working on my BMW motorbike, and it escalated a bit last night, and despite some scrubbing I can't quite get all the dirt out of my fingernails yet, so sorry about that. And there you go, that's the decal side of it anyway. And effectively this set of decals pretty much removes the need to worry about really almost any detail painting on this interior. It's all covered by these decals. But the bit that sold me was this set isn't just 3D decals, it also includes some 3D printed stuff. Now Matt had the other set with the 2-gun setup. I've gone for this set. I'm doing an early aircraft and he's doing a later one. Basically Lewis guns, a pair of. So as you can see on the diagram, you get this 3D printed machine gun, ammunition barrel, ammunition drum, shell case sock, a little collection bag, and this bracket that it fits to. It's all included on this little 3D moulded set here. There are 2 of everything. There are 2 machine guns, 2 shell collecting bags, 2 brackets, and 4 ammunition drums. So you can have 1 fitted to the gun and 3 in stowage, or all 4 in stowage, whatever suits. It's beautifully done, beautifully presented. All of the appropriate areas are hollowed out, even the little ring sight. Can we see it? It's really hard for me to tell if it's visible because the screen I look at is very small. The ring sight is there, it's hollow, the end of the machine gun is hollowed out. They're really, really nicely done. So yes, I went ahead and ordered it to fit onto my Lysander because I couldn't be bothered to figure out which pieces needed to be painted in different colours in my interior. Yeah, first world problems, eh? Sorry. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. £22 is, no argument, it is quite a lot of money. The kit itself is only sort of 35, so to spend another 20 odd on this is a tad frivolous. But you know, sometimes it takes what it takes, and I do think the addition of the little plotting device and it's going to look really nice, and it will speed things up quite a bit. So I just wanted to do a quick a sort of précis of this. It seems that on Hannant's I can see that many of their sets are going this way. You can get just the little 3D printed decals on their own, or you can buy the extended set with the 3D printed resin parts extra, and different sets have different little 3D printed extras to go with them. So this build is one I'm doing in the background. It will be featured on YouTube. It is for the channel, and it will be a 2-part complete build. It's not going to be a series as such. I'm somewhat in awe of the YouTubers who managed to do a complete build in one video of sort of 30 to 40 minutes. I think I waffle much too much, and I have a penchant for wanting to include far too much information to be able to put a full build video up that's that short. But I'm planning on doing this as a build and then as a paint, so a 2-part video on this Airfix Lysander, which so far I have to say is an absolute peach. As I've already said, the Defiant series is underway. I will try to keep the updates on that as close as possible to on a weekly schedule, so you'll get one every week at some point, although not necessarily on the same day each week. I can't promise too much, can I? Even though those videos should be going out roughly weekly or as close to that as I can manage given my other commitments, I will still put up the odd review and Chatterbox and bits and pieces on the side as well. So that's it for this one. Just a quick one to say, yep, hello, I'm back. Here's a nice set I found, and go have a look at the Xcal website for the Xradu Productions tools. They are really, really good. Some of the better ones out there, honestly. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for all of your support. And with all of that said, I think it only remains for me to say until next time, look after yourselves, look after each other, and Genesis out.